It's time for Worldview with Patrick Reeville, starting in Ukraine, where missiles and drones hit the port city of Odesa overnight. Patrick, this is a key port that plays a crucial role in the global food economy. So what do we know about the extent of the damage?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, I mean, this was a huge strike. It was over 60 missiles and drones, most of them sent towards Odesa. It's probably the largest strike to hit the port city since the start of the full-scale invasion last year. It's difficult to get an assessment of the extent of the damage, but we can see that a number of the missiles certainly did hit the port. We can see significant damage to some grain silos in the area. We can see as well a number of warehouses that have been damaged. And the Kremlin has said that this is a revenge strike for Ukraine's strike on the Crimean bridge a couple of days ago. But I think really what this is most linked to is the so-called grain deal, which is this deal that was brokered by the UN to allow Ukraine to be exporting grain through a Russian naval blockade, and that expired on Monday because Russia refused to extend it. And there had been some talk that Ukraine, with the help of Turkey, might try and continue to export despite that refusal from Russia. And I think this is a message about trying to just spoil that and basically try and destroy Ukraine's grain infrastructure and to make that impossible.
Meanwhile, in Kenya, at least 5 protesters have been injured as police clash with demonstrators calling for the government to lower the cost of living. Now the opposition is calling for 3 more days of countrywide protests. So what's the latest there?
Yeah, so these protests in Kenya have begun, and there had been a lot of concerns about violence. We are seeing protests in a number of cities, including the capital, Nairobi, and there have been some clashes. But in general, so far, the violence has been less than perhaps had been expected. So far, 5 people have been injured. There's a very heavy police presence in the capital. We've been speaking to people there who've told us that mainly, though, most of the capital is quiet because the streets are just empty, with people staying at home, trying to keep off the streets and to avoid getting involved in these clashes, which we're seeing, people throwing stones, tear gas being fired back by police, fires being set. And these protests were triggered by a law passed by the government of President William Ruto, which has hiked taxes basically at a moment when there was a pretty severe cost of living crisis in Kenya. But the reasons there were such fears about violence is that in the last month, 27 people have been shot dead. And obviously these protests are going to continue over the next 2 days. And so there is, of course, that continuing concern about violence.
And we also have some good news, Patrick. A sailor has been rescued after being adrift at sea with a dog for 3 months. How did they survive that long, and how are they doing?
Yeah, this is an incredible story, right? A 54-year-old Timothy Lindsay Shaddock was found a week ago by a Mexican tuna fishing boat, and he was floating for 3 months with his dog, Bella. He was lost basically in the Pacific Ocean. He had set off from the Mexican city of La Paz, trying to reach French Polynesia, which is 3,000 miles away, on a catamaran. But he ran into bad weather, and his catamaran was crippled, and he lost his communications. He said he survived on raw fish. But you can see they made it back, and he said that Bella is in good health as well, and he called her amazing, that he's grateful to be alive.
Oh, glad to hear he and Bella are okay. Patrick, thanks for that story. Patrick Reeville with Worldview. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.